Hey, how's it going? My name's Emmett Sparling. I'm a travel photographer and filmmaker from Vancouver, Canada, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips on travel photography. So my first tip is to make a loose itinerary. So you don't want anything that's going to completely restrict your photography process, because when you arrive to a new place traveling, you don't actually know what that place is going to be like exactly in the moment. So you want a really loose itinerary to be able to change things around, to be able to get the best photos possible. A couple weeks ago I was in Turkey and we planned to start in Istanbul, have a bit of time in some other city in the middle, and then finish in Cappadocia. We didn't really have any solid dates, and we just kind of went there and hoped for the best, because you can never really plan for weather or anything. So we started in Istanbul. The weather wasn't great for a couple days, and then we just waited there till it got good, and then we went to the next spot and just kind of kept things open-ended so we were able to get the best content possible. My second tip is to go into a trip with an intention. So intention is super important, because a lot of times, I learned this the hard way actually, I would go to a place and I'd be shooting a bunch of stuff without really any solid plan, and then halfway through I'd be like, oh, it'd be cool if I shot a vlog or something this trip, but I'm already halfway through and I missed so much good stuff. So when you go into a trip, it's really nice to have that set intention. It can be as simple as, I want to take more portraits of locals, or it could be something a bit more concrete, like I want to shoot a short film about a day in Japan. So that kind of structure just allows you to go into a trip with a lot more confidence, and it makes it so you don't miss certain things that you wish you got later. Yeah, head into trips with intention. For example, I was just in India and I said, I want to shoot a vlog this trip. And so I set aside a certain amount of time each day to make sure I was shooting part of this vlog. And then at the end of the trip, I had exactly what I set out to get. So go into trips with intention. So my third tip, once you have an intention, is to start doing a bit of research on that place you're going to go. My personal method for doing this kind of research is to just Google the country. The nice thing with Google Images or Pinterest, for example, or Tumblr, is you're not getting stuck in that Instagram kind of cesspool of photos where everyone's just taking the same photos as each other. With Google Images and Pinterest, for example, you're able to find more unique locations or stuff that hasn't been overshot. I would recommend doing it that way, and then once you've kind of got that rough itinerary, just based on your image searches and your rough research like that, you can be a little more set up for your trip. So my fourth tip is don't pack more than you need. So you're not on a studio shoot at home, you're traveling. So you got to carry everything you're bringing with you on your back, and that gets really tiring when you're bringing way too much stuff. So for example, I'm shooting on the Sony A1, that's great for photo and video, so that all in one body. I try and bring zoom lenses instead of prime lenses, because that gives me more focal lengths and it helps cut down my gear. So the other thing is, when you create your intention, that also lets you pack more appropriately based on what you're setting out to do on your trip. So if I'm setting out to film a video, I'm going to bring more video gear than photo gear. If I'm setting out to just take landscape photos, I'm probably just going to focus on landscape lenses and more landscape oriented gear. Maybe I'll bring a tripod for that, but I won't bring a tripod for filming video or something. So once you've come up with your intention, figure out what you'll need to pack, and don't pack more than you need. Tip number 5 is to stay organized with your workflow. So I try to set a workflow before I even leave, because every trip has a slightly different workflow, and you want to make sure you don't lose any footage, because you're traveling and you'll never be able to take those photos again. So I have an at-home workflow, which is like more stay-at-home hard drives basically. They're all bigger, they don't move. And then I have my on-the-go workflow, which is like SSDs and smaller hard drives that I can take with me and just offload stuff while I travel. I always make sure I've got backups while I travel, because your bags are getting tossed around all the time and hard drives can break. It's really important to make sure your footage isn't getting lost along the way. For example, I was in Norway in March and we were living on a small sailboat. We had 7 cameras shooting and we just had so much footage that could get lost so easily. So we needed to set a workflow on day 1 so that we wouldn't lose anything along the way, because it was a 10-day shoot on a tiny sailboat. with way too many cameras. And by setting that really strict workflow at the beginning, everything stayed organized and we didn't lose anything. So tip number 5, stay organized and set a good workflow for yourself. As a bonus tip, don't forget your batteries. I have 10 batteries because I've lost so many different types of batteries, and it's always the one thing that you kind of forget about, you leave in the background, you don't charge your 2 camera batteries, and then you get to your location and you have nothing to shoot with, and that kind of shuts down your whole production. So make sure you have a lot of batteries with you and make sure they're charged. I hope these tips helped. Thank you so much for watching. You can find me at Emmett_Sparling on Instagram, or emmetsparling.com is my website, and I'll catch you later.